What is going on, ProGuides family, and welcome to the first patch notes of the new year and the new episode. It is your host Sergeant Frost, and we're coming in hot today with some changes that have been made official now that the official patch notes have been released. This patch is filled with gun changes, agent changes, and a few map changes, with some of them having been leaked in the past few days along with info on Neon's release. So if you want to know what's real and what's not, make sure to listen up as we break down patch 4.0. Also, make sure to download AimLab, the best free aim trainer to build some crisp aim to get your episode started off on the right note. The link is in the description if you want to check it out. To kick off the patch notes, the knife is getting an interesting buff with the right-click melee hitbox being increased by 1.5 times. The left click is also larger than the right click and it has a longer range, which means it can be used to close the distance. Furthermore, targets closer to the center of your knife will get hit first, so it does have better precision, although it's hard to really guess when this would be important. Also, as a bonus, knifing a wall gives you instant feedback, so it feels cleaner, I guess, since it's predicted on the client side. We have to admit, this buff is a weird one, because we can assure you that absolutely nobody thought that the knife was underpowered or needed a buff at all. But here we are. It looks like getting knife kills using right click should just be a little bit easier to achieve now that it has a longer range. I guess that in some niche cases with knifing through astral walls, this could potentially change the outcome, but as a whole, it seems like an interesting change without too many practical uses. The Spectre is getting quite a few changes to how it shoots in this patch. The firing error now occurs at earlier bullet stages. There is now an increased pitch and yaw recoil multiplier when running and jumping, which is up from 1.25 to 1.5. The protected bullet count from yaw, which is horizontal switching while spraying, has decreased from 8 bullets to 5. And finally, the lowering time to switch yaw is down from 0.24 to 0.18. The Spectre is going through several significant firing changes in hopes that the devs can curb its firing error problem. This gun has been one of the main perpetrators of the game's running and gunning problems, so these changes are aimed to help rein in on one of its most problematic qualities in-game. The Guardian's ADS shooting speed is now the same speed as the non-ADS shooting speed. The Guardian has been an invisible gun in the game's meta for quite some time now. This gun is getting a nice quality of life buff to one of its best ease of use strategies, which is shooting in ADS mode. Now while shooting in ADS mode, the Guardian will have the same fire rate instead of it being reduced like it was in the past. This is a great quality of life buff to the Guardian, but it doesn't seem to make it particularly stronger or anything like that. Overall, it should be a gun that suits its niche and not much more. The Ares is getting its spin-up time removed and it's getting its fire rate increased from 10 to 13. The Ares has not been the best gun historically, outside of a few niche uses for wallbang spots on some maps. One of this gun's biggest problems was its spin-up time, preventing it from getting quick kills off the draw, and its increasing fire rate made it harder to control once it reached its peak mid-clip. These buffs are aimed to make it a bit more consistent in terms of getting kills faster now that the spin-up time is gone, and its quicker overall fire rate should make its spraying more consistent. These buffs look like they can actually help out the Ares' reputation, so let's hope that this gun can get more playtime as more players start to get exposed to its new powers. The last weapon to receive some changes this patch is none other than the Bulldog. The devs have stated that they want to give this gun some love to start the year off, and we have to admit it very much needs it. The hipfire fire rate has been increased from 9.5 to 10. The recovery on the burst fire improved from 0.4 to 0.35. The Bulldog received just a couple firing tweaks to hopefully make it an even smoother gun to use when shooting. The fire rate buff should help it secure kills a bit quicker, and the even bigger change in its burst recovery is getting better from 0.4 to 0.35. This should make nailing those burst fire kills a bit smoother since the gun will recover a little bit faster now. Now, moving on to map changes, we've got a few notable changes to the map Breeze. One of the biggest changes to Breeze occurs on the A site. A big portion of the A site is now covered in water. The double boxes that used to be spammable are now gone as well. And there is now a huge orange crate in the back of site that you can perch up on for an elevated off angle. And finally, there is a change to the left side of caves where the only tiny corner used to be. You now have a bigger corner that you can hide in, so that way you can approach A doors safely without having to fear a peeking defending AWPer. There is now also a double stack of boxes in cave as well for even more cover. On B site, there are a lot more additions to the site to give defenders more room to work with when defending the site. The devs have added a double stack of boxes next to the half wall, back site now has an extended wall from back pillar, and the center pillar now has a stone block attached to it. These Breeze changes are designed to make attacking and defending a little less difficult to say the least. A site has had problems for attackers walking in the lines of sight for defenders who are holding the cave entrance from multiple different angles. This map strategy evolved into attacking teams needing a Viper on their team in order to adequately attack the site. Adding a huge crate to the back of A site and adding boxes into cave allow for players to have a bit more cover as they carefully pick their angles when approaching the site. B site changes were more inclined to help defenders have a better fighting chance warding off rushes. B site historically has been a site that many teams play for retake because it was hard to hold for attacking teams that committed resources for getting into site. Adding more cover and introducing new angles for defenders to hold significantly helps out B-site's defendability, so that way you won't have to give it up the moment you're faced with opposition. Bind is getting a much smaller change to its map design, but it's a notable change in its own right. In A Short, the old wooden boxes have been removed, and a short hop-up step has been put in its place. This new box has stairs that allow you to easily climb on top of it, which creates a cool new angle kind of like the one off the boxes in Grass on Haven. The devs have also added a bench to the back of A Short where the attackers spawn, which should give the attackers a new way to peek when approaching. These changes won't fix the main attacking choke point problems that plague Bind's map design, but it is a step in the right direction towards making Bind a little bit more attacker friendly. For ranked updates, we are now getting some new rank requirements for new accounts. Instead of the old system where you needed 10 wins to play ranked, you now instead need to get your account to level 20 in order to play ranked. This change is targeted to help the smurfing issue, where smurfs were able to make endless accounts quickly and get them into ranked games in little to no time. This change won't stomp out smurfing entirely, but it will slow down their process of leveling up new accounts to use in ranked significantly. Moving on, the devs have reduced the 5-stack rating penalty. Diamond 2 and below players will see their rank rating penalty reduced by 25% compared to the current balance. This means the new minimum penalty is 25% reduced gains and losses compared to the previous 50%. The devs' reasoning for making these changes was to help maintain leaderboard integrity to start off the new episode. And the devs have increased map randomization. The devs have increased the map weights, which should lead to an increase in map variety and reduction in map duplicates from match to match. For bug fixes, the devs fixed an issue where the signature kill counter was not updating visually. And for the esports features, coaches should no longer experience the issue where swapping targets with number keys plus mouse clicks occasionally fails. Well guys, that's all we have for the first patch 4.0 rundown of the new year. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing to our channel. Also, don't forget to check out ProGuides.com to gain some access to some truly amazing coaching. This has been your host Sergeant Frost, and good luck on the grind to start off the episode.